Henry's Daily Dictionary. Only on Wednesday.
Hi guys, this video is created to support learning and help us study together the so-called international language, English. In order to firmly master the language, we have to study vocabulary because vocabulary is absolutely crucial for all skills, including reading, writing, speaking, and listening. However, before we get to the main point, we should first start with a brief introduction. This is the outline of the video, which we will go through one by one. As you can see, we have 5 sections here. The first one is word verbs, such as nouns and verbs. Then, we will learn phrasal verbs, which are commonly and widely used in spoken language. Next is collocation, whose phrases are completely fixed and cannot be changed. After that comes idioms. You already understand why they are significant to the language. Some idioms, such as raining cats and dogs or break a leg, can make our speech more vivid and impressive. Finally, to strengthen and reinforce our knowledge, we will put these words into situational practice. Now, let's dive into our first section, word verbs. In word verbs, we have 4 main parts of speech: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. In nouns, we have 5 major types. Before that, let me add a short note. In the future, we will use these categories for more convenient word interaction. The first one is countable nouns. Countable nouns refer to people, animals, places, objects, or ideas that can be counted as individual units. They have both singular and plural forms and can be used with numbers. They can be counted like 1, 2, 3, etc. They can be used with a or an, many, few, several, these, and those. For example, like a book, apples, and feet. The second one is uncountable nouns. Refer to substances, materials, qualities, or concepts that cannot be counted individually because they are viewed as a whole or a mass. They do not have any plural forms, and they are often used with some, much, little, and a lot of. They are also measured using units or containers. For example, water, information, rice, and etc. The third one is abstract nouns. Abstract nouns refer to ideas, emotions, qualities, states, or concepts that cannot be perceived by the 5 senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. They can be counted or uncountable depending on context. For example, love, happiness, and freedom. The fourth one is concrete nouns. Concrete nouns refer to physical objects or substances that can be perceived by the 5 senses, which means they can be seen, touched, heard, smelled, or tasted, including people, animals, places, and objects. They can be countable or uncountable as well. For example, dog, music, flower, and etc. And finally, we have collective nouns. Collective nouns refer to a group of people, animals, or things considered as a single unit. They represent many members as one group. They can take singular or plural verbs depending on meaning, especially in British English. For example, team, family, flock, and a lot more. Warning. A compound noun is a noun made up of two or more words that function as one single noun, written as one word, two words, or hyphenated. For example, toothbrush, bird stuff, father-in-law, swimming pool, classroom, passerby. In verbs, we have two types, main verb and linking verb. In main verb, we have another two types, intransitive verb and transitive verb. An intransitive verb does not require a direct object to complete its meaning. The action or state described by the verb does not pass on to an object. The sentence makes sense without adding anything after the verb, and is often followed by adverbs or prepositional phrases, not objects. For example, she laughed, the baby slept. Next, a transitive verb requires a direct object to complete its meaning. The action of the verb passes from the subject to the object. Without an object, the sentence feels incomplete or unclear. For example, he reads a book, they build a house. And finally, a linking verb connects the subject of a sentence to a subject complement, a noun, pronoun, or adjective that describes or identifies the subject. It does not express an action. The complement renames or describes the subject. For example, be, seem, become, feel, look, and appear. There are other two types of verb as well, like modal verb, should, can, may, shall, or auxiliary verb, be, do, have, did, had, will. But they are pretty easy, so we're gonna skip that one. And what we are gonna concentrate on are main verb and linking verb. In adjectives, we have four types. First, a simple adjective consists of only one word and is not formed by combining other words or by adding prefixes or suffixes. It expresses a basic quality, size, color, number, or condition of a noun. For examples, big, happy, fast, red, and etc. A derived adjective is formed by adding a prefix or suffix to a root word, noun, verb, or adjective. The added element changes the word into an adjective or modifies its meaning. For example, hurtful, careless, unhappy, dangerous, impolite. Participle adjectives is formed from a verb's participle, present or past, and is used to describe a noun. It expresses a state, feeling, or effect. For example, boring, excited, broken, tired. And finally, a compound adjective is formed by combining two or more words to describe a noun. These words function as one idea and are often hyphenated when placed before a noun. They are more specific than simple adjectives. For example, well-known, good-looking, full-time, and etc. In adverbs, we have the right adverb, which are formed by adding suffixes most commonly lead to adjectives or sometimes to nouns. It changes adjectives into adverbs of manner or degree. For examples, quickly, carefully, and happily. There are other types of adverb as well, like simple adverb, Now, here, very. Adverbial phrases like in the morning, at home, by chance, or compound adverb, sometimes, everywhere, meanwhile. But I think they are alright and easy, so what we're gonna focus on is the right adverb. These forms of word are linked to each other, which means they can transform another to another, like success, succeed, successful, and successfully. They all are called the word family. The second section is phrasal verb. Phrasal verbs can follow different structures. First, verb plus preposition. For example, like turn off, put on, take down, look for, where the object must come after the preposition, like look after the child, not look the child after. Second, verb plus adverb plus preposition. For example, look forward to, put up with, where the object always comes after the preposition. In addition, phrasal verbs can be transitive, like taking an object, or intransitive, not taking an object. And some are separable, while others are inseparable, depending on whether the object can be placed between the verb and the particle. Warning! Phrasal verbs are crucial in spoken English, but can be tricky since their meanings aren't always obvious from base words. The third section is collocation. A collocation is a natural combination of words that are commonly used together by native speakers. Even if the meaning is clear, changing one word may sound unnatural. For example, adhere to regulations, run a business, keep a promise, deep concert, sheer determination, wide array of. A collocation can be constructed with a lot of structure, like adjective plus verb, adjective plus preposition, verb plus noun, verb plus adverb, or noun plus preposition, and a lot more. The fourth section is idiom. An idiom is a fixed expression whose meaning cannot be understood from the literal meanings of the individual words. Idioms are used naturally by native speakers, especially in spoken and informal English. For example, break the ice means start a friendly conversation. Spill the bean, which means reveal a secret, once in a blue moon, which is very rarely. The final section is putting theory into practice. Applying theory to practice by using newly learned vocabulary allows learners to turn knowledge into real communication. Writing short paragraphs helps words appear in context, making their meanings clearer and easier to understand. Through regular practice, vocabulary is remembered longer and used more naturally, building confidence in expression. As a result, learners not only improve their language skills but also communicate more effectively in real-life situations. Now, the question is, what is the point of this visual? Well, this visual serves as both a lesson and a guide to clearly explain important terms and the structure of future educational visuals. Therefore, I have created a learning roadmap that we can follow together. As you can see here, this is the roadmap, and it's just like the outline of this visual. The first one is word form. We will learn only one word, but It will contain noun, verb, adjective, and adverb, as well as its synonym and antonyms. Then we will learn from 5 to 6 phrasal verbs, 3 collocations, 3 idioms. After that, we will practice by reading a paragraph containing those words or phrases above. And that's the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and now have some cool words up your sleeves. Thanks for watching and peace!